The annual Miller family gathering at La Maison d'Aja was in full swing, with my sister Victoria orchestrating every detail like the social director she fancied herself to be. I watched from near the kitchen as she arranged everyone according to her mental hierarchy of success. "James, darling, you're next to mother, of course, Theo's privileges," she chirped, guiding our investment banker brother to the prime spot. "And Charlotte, here by father. We must celebrate that partnership at Goldman." I remained in the shadows, knowing what was coming. It happened every year. Victoria finally noticed me, her designer glasses sliding down her nose as she frowned. "Oh, Emma, there you are. We're a bit tight at the main tables. Perhaps you could sit." She gestured vaguely toward the service area. "Over there? With your, what is it you do again?" "Personal shopping." She only knew. Personal shopping was my cover. A convenient explanation for my frequent travel and flexible schedule. It kept my family from asking too many questions about how I really spent my time. Running HDG International, a luxury hospitality empire worth $12 billion. "Of course, Victoria," I said quietly, moving toward the staff area. My sophisticated black dress, a one-of-a-kind piece from a designer I actually owned, looked out of place among the servers' uniforms, but Victoria was too busy fawning over James's latest promotion to notice. I settled at a small table near the kitchen, watching the restaurant's staff move with practiced efficiency. None of them knew that the woman seated among them owned not just this restaurant, but the entire chain of La Maison establishments across 3 continents. "Miss Harrison." Marcel, the restaurant manager, hurried over looking panicked. He was new, transferred from our Paris location last month, and hadn't yet learned about my preference for anonymity during family events. "Your private table is ready, we didn't realize you would be." "It's fine, Marcel," I cut him off softly. "Tonight I'm just Emma, having dinner with family. Please ensure everyone maintains that discretion." He nodded, though his eyes kept darting anxiously between me and the opulent main table where Victoria was now regaling everyone with stories about her latest charity gala. The same gala that had been held at one of my hotels, though she had no idea. My phone buzzed, a text from Sarah, my CFO. "Acquisition of Rivera Hotels complete. You now own every major luxury property in 3 more cities. Board meeting tomorrow to discuss expansion plans." I smiled, thinking of Victoria's frequent boasts about staying at Rivera properties. Wait until she discovered her connections at those hotels were actually employees of her little sister. "Emma." Mother's voice carried across the restaurant. "At least come say hello to everyone. We hardly see you these days with your little business keeping you so busy." My little business had just closed a $3 billion deal, but I dutifully rose and approached the family table. James barely glanced up from his phone, probably checking stock prices, including, though he didn't know it, HDG International's soaring shares. "Still doing that personal shopping thing?" he asked dismissively. "You know, there's an entry-level position opening in my department." I bit back a laugh, remembering that his investment bank had tried to arrange financing for my latest acquisition. I'd rejected their terms, too aggressive, too arrogant. Just like James. The restaurant's owner, Philippe Bernard, chose that moment to make his entrance. He stopped dead when he saw me, his face paling slightly. "Madame Harrison," he exclaimed before catching himself. "I mean, mademoiselle." Victoria's head snapped up. "You know Emma?" Philippe looked desperately between me and my family, realizing his mistake. I could save him from the awkwardness, but perhaps it was time for a small lesson in assumptions. Philippe's panicked expression was almost comical as he struggled to recover. That is, Madame Harrison is. Emma shops for some of his regular customers." Victoria cut in smoothly, already crafting a narrative that fit her worldview. "Isn't that right, Emma?" Before I could respond, the restaurant's doors opened again. This time it was Marcus Chin, my chief operations officer, who clearly hadn't gotten the memo about my family gatherings. He strode in confidently, tablet in hand. "Boss, sorry to interrupt your dinner, but we need your signature on the Rivera Hotels merger before the Asian markets open," and he stopped abruptly, taking in the scene. My family's confused faces, Philippe's visible distress, and my carefully neutral expression. "Boss," James echoed, his fork suspended halfway to his mouth. Mother's social radar was pinging wildly now. She'd spent decades cultivating relationships with New York's elite, and something wasn't adding up about her supposedly unsuccessful daughter. I could feel the carefully constructed wall between my real life and my family facade beginning to crumble. Perhaps it was time. After all, the Rivera acquisition would be public knowledge by morning. "Thank you, Marcus," I said calmly, taking the tablet. "The paperwork for all 37 properties?" 38, he corrected. "We included the Singapore location in the final deal. Once you sign, HDG International will officially be the largest luxury hospitality group in Asia." Victoria's wine glass slipped from her fingers, red liquid spreading across the pristine white tablecloth. No one moved to clean it up. The staff were too busy watching their boss's identity being revealed to her own family. HDG International? Father spoke for the first time, his business instincts awakening. "The company that just acquired Rivera Hotels for $3 billion? That HDG International." "The same," I confirmed, signing the digital documents with a flourish. "Though that's just the latest acquisition. You might also know us from the Lou Maison chain, the Wellington Hotel Group, or perhaps the Grand Plaza Properties." "James certainly does. His bank tried to finance this deal." James's face went from confused to shocked to pale as the implications hit him. "That was your company? But the CEO of HDG's is standing right here," I finished, handing the tablet back to Marcus. "Philippe, I believe there's been a mistake with the seating arrangements. My usual table, please." Philippe practically tripped over himself, gesturing to the best table in the house. "The one I usually used for board meetings." "Of course, Madam Harrison. Right away." Victoria found her voice, though it had risen an octave. But you're a personal shopper. You drive a Honda. You live in a tiny apartment." "I own the building actually," I corrected. "Along with most of that block. The Honda is for when I don't want to draw attention. The town car and driver are outside if you'd prefer to see those." Mother's social calculator was working overtime now, realizing that her unsuccessful daughter actually owned every high-end hotel and restaurant she'd bragged about frequenting. "All those times you couldn't attend family functions because of work," she began. "I was usually in Dubai or Paris or Tokyo, overseeing my company's expansion." I smiled slightly. "Though I did attend James's promotion celebration last year. I own the venue after all." The staff had begun clearing Victoria's spilled wine, moving with the practiced efficiency of people who knew exactly who signed their paychecks. Marcus stood quietly to the side, clearly enjoying the show. "Shall we move to my table?" I suggested. "We can discuss the Rivera acquisition over dinner. James, I'm sure you'd love to hear why I rejected your bank's financing terms." The migration to my private table felt like a changing of the guard. Victoria, who had spent the evening playing social conductor, now trailed behind uncertainly. James, for once, had put his phone away, his expression caught between professional interest and personal shock. "The 82 Bordeaux, Philippe," I said as we settled in. "And informed the chef I'd like tonight's special presentation." "The one we've been aging for 3 months, madam?" Philippe asked, shooting a nervous glance at my family. "The experimental fusion menu?" "Exactly. It's time my family experienced what their personal shopper has been working on." Mother adjusted her pearls, a nervous habit from her country club days. "Working on? You mean you're involved in the menu planning as well?" Marcus, who had taken a seat at my right hand despite Victoria's obvious dismay, couldn't contain his laugh. "Madam Miller, your daughter personally approves every major menu change across all HDG properties. The molecular gastronomy program at Lou Maison was her idea." "But you can barely cook." Victoria blurted out. "Last Christmas you brought store-bought cookies to the family dinner." "Because I was in the middle of acquiring those stores," I replied dryly. "The entire gourmet market chain, actually. Though the cookies were excellent, our food science team spent 6 months perfecting the recipe." The wine arrived and Philippe performed the tasting ceremony with extra flourish. I could see my siblings calculating the bottle's value, probably remembering all the times they'd mocked my budget lifestyle. "Now," I said, turning to James, "about that financing proposal. Your bank's terms were quite aggressive. Almost as aggressive as that job offer you made me last month." James choked on his wine. "That entry-level position. would have had me working 3 levels below people who currently report to my subsidiaries. I smiled, though I appreciated the irony. Father cleared his throat. When did all this happen? HDG International is one of the most secretive companies in the industry. The CEO has never been publicly named. By design, I confirmed. I started small, buying struggling boutique hotels and turning them around. While Victoria was planning charity galas at my properties and James was bragging about his banking connections, I was quietly building an empire. The first course arrived, a stunning display of culinary artistry that had taken our chef team months to perfect. Mother stared at her plate as if it might explain how her supposedly underachieving daughter had become a billionaire without her knowing. The Singapore property James mentioned earlier? I continued, enjoying their rapt attention. I bought it because Victoria kept bragging about staying there during her exclusive Asian vacations. She never noticed that her room upgrades and special treatment came from her sister, not her social connections. Victoria's face flushed. All those times you asked about my trips. Market research, I confirmed. Though your complaints about the Singapore location's spa services were quite helpful. We're renovating it next month. Marcus's tablet chimed with another update. Asian markets are opening, boss. Rivera Hotel stock is already responding to the acquisition news. James instinctively reached for his phone, then stopped himself. You beat out every major hotel group for Rivera. The financial press has been speculating for weeks about the mysterious buyer. They'll know soon enough. The press release goes out at midnight. I checked my watch. Which reminds me, Mother, you might want to cancel your lunch reservation at the plaza tomorrow. We're closing it for renovations now that we own it. Mother's fork clattered against her plate. The plaza? But I've been going there for 20 years. I know the owner personally. No, I corrected gently, you knew the previous owner. I'm the current one as of approximately 10 minutes ago when I signed those papers. The second course arrived, each plate a masterpiece of contemporary cuisine. My family watched in silence as the staff moved with choreographed precision, their respect for their true boss evident in every gesture. I have a car waiting, I said, checking my phone. The Rivera acquisition announcement is being made from our Tokyo office and I need to be there. James, your bank's analysis of the deal was actually quite good. Just not good enough. Victoria, next time you plan a charity gala, have your people call my people. The family discount will be substantial. As if on cue, my Tesla Model S pulled up outside, its sleek black form visible through Le Maison's floor-to-ceiling windows. Not the Honda Civic they were used to seeing me in. The driver, David, stepped out in his immaculate uniform, a far cry from the Uber drivers I'd claimed to rely on all these years. One last thing, I said, standing and smoothing my designer dress. Victoria, about those charity galas you're so proud of organizing. She looked up warily, no doubt wondering what other revelations were coming. The Children's Hospital Foundation you've been trying to get funding from? I'm the anonymous donor who's been supporting their oncology wing for the past 5 years. The next time you want to make a difference, try leading with compassion instead of connections. Mother's social mask finally cracked completely. The oncology wing? But that's millions. 200 million actually, Marcus supplied helpfully. Though boss usually prefers we don't discuss her charitable giving. James was frantically scrolling through his phone, no doubt reading the breaking news about HDG International's latest acquisition. The market's already reacting to the Rivera deal. This is going to be bigger than anyone predicted. Which reminds me, I turned to Father, who had been uncharacteristically quiet. That business advice you gave me 5 years ago about starting small and learning the basics? I took it. I started with one struggling boutique hotel. Then I bought its competitors. Then the restaurant chain that served them. Then the supply companies, the booking platforms, the real estate. I let that sink in as Philippe appeared with a sleek leather portfolio, the complete wine list and seasonal menu planning documents that only the owner would normally see. Your upcoming renovations look magnificent, Madam Harrison, he said, pointedly using my business name. Especially the new rooftop garden concept. Victoria's eyes widened. But I just booked my engagement party here. The rooftop venue will be closed for renovations, I confirmed. But the Paris location has a lovely space. I'll have my team transfer your booking, complimentary upgrade, of course. Family discount. The irony of offering my sister a family discount at my own restaurant wasn't lost on anyone. She had spent years offering me her connections and favors, never realizing I was the one with the real power to help. My phone buzzed again. Tokyo waiting for their suit. I have to go. The Asian markets wait for no one, not even family revelations. I reached into my purse and placed a black credit card on the table. Dinner's on me. As usual, though you never knew it. All those business dinners, Mother said suddenly. When you couldn't attend because you were working late at your little shopping job. I was usually in this same restaurant at that private table over there. I gestured to a secluded corner. Closing deals worth more than this building. The shopping story just made it easier to avoid uncomfortable questions. David opened the restaurant door, standing at attention. Through the windows I could see several paparazzi already gathering. News of the Rivera acquisition was spreading fast. One last thing, I said, pausing at the table. James, that entry-level position you offered? I'm actually hiring for several executive roles after the Rivera merger. Your bank's analysis of the deal was impressive, even if your financing terms weren't. Have your people call my people. If you can handle reporting to your little sister. The look on his face was priceless, equal parts shocked, impressed, and mortified. Victoria was still staring at the black credit card like it might disappear. Mother appeared to be mentally recalculating every social interaction we'd ever had. Oh, and Victoria? I added, those store-bought cookies at Christmas? They're going to be in every high-end market by next month. I bought the recipe for 8 figures. Sometimes the simplest things are worth the most, a lesson this family never quite understood. With that, I walked out of Le Maison d'Aja, leaving my family to digest more than just their dinner. Tomorrow, the business world would be buzzing about HDG International's latest conquest. But tonight, I had finally conquered something far more challenging. My family's assumptions about success. David held the car door open. Tokyo, Madam Harrison? Tokyo, I confirmed, sliding into the leather interior. And David? Make sure my family gets home safely in the backup car. After all, that's what successful people do. They take care of their own, even when their own didn't take care of them.